Mark Goodson.
Yep.
At one point seemed to control all of daytime television. He and maybe
Ralph Edwards.
Ralph Edwards. Yeah, that's basically
Ralph Edwards and Mark Goodson programmed daytime for a while.
And let's see, who are the two main guys that you worked for in your career?
Mark Goodson and Ralph Edwards.
That's good company to keep.
Oh, listen. I worked with the very kings, the best.
And then they created these shows, but one lasted. And I know you've been asked this a million times. Why is it? Because I have my theory. Why is it that Price lasted? I think people that listen to this podcast are younger. They won't know that at one point, literally, Goodson had 20 shows on the air, and that's only
it's crazy
three
to look
networks.
at his show Bible. It's
but why
insane.
is it that this one out of all of them lasted?
Well, before, if you'd asked me that before my retirement, I would have said Bob Barker.
Yeah. I would
But
actually
now
say
that,
that. I would actually say that still, because I don't think that there's any other way that this show goes. If you look at how much the country, the world changed from 1972 to now,
Right.
there are I believe there's only one person that could have been on camera and held our interest and been compelling
whole
enough, and that
time.
was you. Because, so I really do believe that, and that was the hard part about trying to dismantle Price when I was studying it the year you announced your retirement, because I watched because of you. And I loved the games and the people and all that kind of stuff. But you watched, but I was a wannabe host, TV producer. So I'm watching and go, I watch because that guy's unbelievable. So I do think it was. But
to hold on to that many generations of
it's
people.
impossible.
Yeah.
And it'll never be done again. I firmly believe there'll never be another, because people would go, oh, he's gotten too old, or the show's too corny, or times have changed, they shouldn't give things away, or whatever. I think you're the only one. So I'm glad that you said, because I actually think a lot of it is you.
Well, I thank you. On that subject, on the subject of what I contributed to the show, Mark Goodson had watched me on Truth or Consequences, and he called me. I was doing Truth or Consequences in syndication, so I could do a network show.
Yep.
And he called me and he said, Bob, I have a new Price is Right. And he said, I'd like to have you host it. And he said, could you come in and have a meeting with me and we'll talk about it. He said, there's a lot of new ideas. And I went in, and he had only 5 games at the time, but he told me what he was going to do. And I said, I think it'll work, Mark. And he said, I think it'll work, too. And he said, I think we'll get a long run out. Of course, he never thought about 40 years, but he said, I think I'll get a long run out. And we made a deal. And he was always very generous with me. But after that had been on for a while, Bud Grant was the head of daytime at CBS at that time. And Bud and I became friends, and I found out that Bud Grant had told Mark Goodson that he would buy Price is Right if he got Bob Barker as host. And I said, can I tell Mark that you told me about that? He said, yes, go ahead, I don't care. So I said, Mark, I said, you've always been generous with me. But if I had known that you had been told you had to get me to host this show in order to sell it, you would have been a hell of a lot more generous.
But that's so classic Goodson. Like, I think let's have a meeting and talk about maybe you doing
that's
it.
exactly how
we're
we
gonna get a
approach
run
it.
out of this.
Real cool, right.